A very warm welcome from Edureka, and thanks for joining today's session. My name is Deepak. I have 15 plus years of experience in this field. Today's topic is fundamentals of project management. So let's get started and let's talk about agenda for today. So today we are going to talk about what is project management, what is PMP certification, and the exam pattern. So there are two exam patterns, the exam pattern which was followed earlier and the new exam pattern which is going to be there. So I'm going to cover both of them and the content part and the examination requirement and the certification cost. Now let's talk about what is a project management. Before we dive in more detail, it's very important for you to understand what is project management. So project management basically is an art through which you are going to manage the project. So this is again one of the trending thing, and in this competitive world, it's very important if you want to make a career in this domain, that this is very important for you to understand all the bits and pieces. So project management is basically required whenever you have any kind of domain, any kind of product. You have to manage that product so that it can be you can create that product efficiently, and you can manage that product efficiently. I will just give you one example in terms of technical and non-technical, because I know that some of you are from a technical background, some of you are from a non-technical background. Let's say I will start with a non-technical one, but yeah, if you have any further doubt, feel free to ask. So let's say I want to build an application through which, and again, this example is based on a real life concept. Let's say I want to build an application through which people can send the money to each other, and that application can be linked with your bank account. And in that application, you can also store the money. If you're going to store the money, you're going to get some cash back. So in order to build that application, what's you are going to require? It's not like that I can make that application overnight, or I can make that application randomly. The proper planning has to be required. So you must be thinking, why the proper planning is required. You want to write an application, just build it and launch it in the market. It's not easy. Let's say I developed an application. After developing an application, I realized there is a bug that once people are adding the money into that application from their bank account, it's creating an open connection due to which any hacker can eavesdrop into the network and take the money out, because that session is idle, let's say for 2 minutes. That session is not deleted once the money is transferred. So that idle value which is enabled, that can be used by hacker, which is a very big thing. It can become a nightmare. Or maybe let's say there is another thing that once the application was launched, it was not working on certain iOS version, or this application is working differently if you are using on different operating system, like different versions of Android, different versions of iOS. This application is working differently. Or let's say you have another problem. When this application was launched, you realize that with this application you cannot transfer money to some of the accounts. So it's basically going to be an issue. And later on, then you have to make the changes. You have to mark a downtime for a couple of hours or day, depending on the change you have to make. So it can give a very bad experience to the user. And maybe later on you realize that, oh, in order to fix the bug, you have to change the programming language, so you have to change the entire interface. Now why this problem happened? Because this application, when it was being developed, the proper planning was not there. So ideally, if in terms of technical management, if I talk about, if you are developing any software, there is a software development life cycle. You have to follow the phases. Like, you have to understand whether the product that you are trying to build, it's technically feasible to build that product or not. Along with that, you have to see what are the different requirements you have. And you have to make sure that while developing, testing people have to work in parallel. And after that product is being developed, you perform a beta release, alpha release. There's so many steps. So who is going to define those steps? Who is going to manage those steps? And this is again from a one application perspective. There can be many things. Let's say I want to make my organization to go into the stock market field. My organization is dealing in the banking sector, and I want my organization to go into your different field. For example, I want my organization to deal into stock market, wherein they are going to inform users, they're going to suggest users that what shares are beneficial for them for investment purpose, what shares are not beneficial for them. So in order to have that thing, or I would say in order to have that kind of knowledge being transferred to online platform, you have to make sure that you have all the different algorithms, APIs being developed so that the people who are the market experts who deal in the stock market, whatever the kind of input they are giving, it's getting translated into the software world so that people over sitting on a different side can get those updates. So all those things can have to be done with the help of proper planning, proper management. That comes under the project management, wherein that's why the project manager job is very important at very higher level. He's the one, even though he's not going to own the company, but indirectly he's going to own the company, because all the decisions, each and everything is going to be made by him. He's going to define so that company can work and manage the things efficiently and company can grow. Okay, so I hope you got the fair understanding what is project management. And what is the benefit of having a project management? So again, all the things that I have explained, it's mentioned he is going to be the one who is going to, I would say, own the company indirectly, who is going to make sure that everything is planned properly, all the steps are mentioned properly. For example, what is going to be the risk if you are going to work on that project, what can be the mitigation steps, all those kind of things. Now let's talk about what is PMP. So PMP basically stands for Project Management Professional. So this is a certification which is one of the very renowned certification if you are going to make a career. If you have this certification on your resume, people are going to give you more preference because they are going to be aware that you know all the in and out how to manage a project and how efficiently you can work on any of the project. So if you have this certification along with the knowledge, it's going to be like a cherry on the top. So this is widely recognized certification through which you can manage your project. Along with that, once anyone who has this knowledge, how to manage the project, he can easily define the protocols for the new project into the same domain or different projects. Because in an organization, whether it's a technical field, non-technical field, everything is a product which can be considered like a project, because for company it's a product, but for you it's going to be a project wherein you're going to make sure that what are the requirements that you got from your customer. If this product has to be delivered to the customer, what are the different requirements that you got from the different stakeholders within the organization if this is an in-house basically product that you want to launch. So in the case of product, you have to make sure that you have all the knowledge in different domains. So PMP basically more focuses on that you should have that kind of I would say, how I would say, like, in other words, you should have that kind of mindset that you are going to think always outside the box. Let's say I have to I got involved into a project wherein I have a zero knowledge. For example, my company wants to launch database as a service. I have a zero knowledge about database. You have to think from the product perspective. Okay, what is the use case, for example, of having that product? What is the advantage of launching that product? If it is for a customer, how much revenue company is getting, and how much time you have to spend, how much money you have to spend, how much resources you're going to require. For example, your company got that project of $100,000, but you realized that the net cost of implementing that stuff is more than $100,000. So indirectly, it's not going to be a profit, but it's going to be a loss. So you have to determine that in the initial phase. And in case of any issues, you have to report to the leadership team that this is not a good solution with which the company can go live. So all those kind of things you have to make sure that you are managing and you are defining. That's why I said, like, this profile is more of a out of the box, wherein you have to be creative sometime so that you can understand all the in and out of a specific project or a product in which the company is dealing, so that you can help them in you know increasing their revenue. One of the example, like Paytm, you know that when this Paytm was introduced, how it was introduced. Paytm was introduced with a very small concept through which you can transfer the money, and then they allowed you can add the money into their wallet. And now if you will see, with Paytm you can do everything. You can book your flight tickets, you can book your train tickets, you can purchase the stocks, you can purchase the gold. For the people who are outside India, this is again an application which was introduced. Like in US, you have Yele application, which is YDLLE, with which you can do the same thing, wherein it's like a Paytm, you can transfer the money, you can say store the money in the wallet, all those kind of things. So that's how that thing was managed. That thing was not managed by technical team, because technical team can build the solution, but there has to be someone who has to inform them the requirement, and you are going to be the one who is going to design the entire pattern, the scope. You are going to understand the net cost of the project and the net effort which is required, and how it can be beneficial to the company. Okay, now let's talk about what is PMP certification. So you got a fair understanding that what is the advantage of using it, what is the advantage of making a career in PMP. Now let's talk about what exactly is PMP certification. So if you're going to take a course from Edureka, you are going to get the certification from us. Also, you are going to get the certification from PMP if you are going to clear that certification. From our side, we are going to make sure that you are well prepared to go ahead with the certification. And if you want to take a certification from PMP, you can. Otherwise, in the same cost that you are going to pay to us for the course, we are going to provide a certification from our side. Now, before understanding about certification, let's understand why you require certification. Because the reason is there are employee benefits. Employees are going to get the benefit. What kind of benefits they are going to get? You are going to get greater employment opportunities, because people in the market are going to trust you more, that you are a one who know all the in and out, since you are holding a certification from PMP. Along with that, if you are going from a different organization, whether it's in a technical field, non-technical field, people are going to trust you globally. Along with that, like I said, it's an international recognition. This certification is not like that, which is only going to work in a specific country like India, UK. It's going to be trusted all over the globe. The next one is enhanced skill set. You are going to learn all the bits and pieces, like, the very basic thing I have explained right now, the use case of having PMP, use case of acquiring that knowledge. Because a person who is going to enroll himself into this role, he is going to own the company indirectly. So because like I said, your companies, let's say, is going to make an application live, they are going to spend hundred and thousands of dollars. That, for example, Paytm, at that time when it was first introduced, it was a very small brand. Now you see, basically right now, they are into all of the important thing, I would say almost all of the important things. How they are touching the different areas, because this is managed properly. There has to be project manager at the back end who is taking care of everything. That's why you're going to have an enhanced skill set, the more pay, and the good position. Along with that, you are going to have more, I would say, advantage over the non-PMP candidates. For example, there are two candidates for which HR has received the resume. One is PMP certified, second is non-PMP certified. They are going to give preference to the person who is PMP certified. And last one basically is building leadership qualities. So you are going to again have you're going to build the leadership qualities, because you are going to be the one who is going to work at the top management. Like I said, you are not going to be the, like, again, the CEO of the company, but and you are not going to own the company directly, but yes, you're going to own the company indirectly. So you are going to inherit all those leadership qualities, because you are going to deal with leadership, entire stakeholders, and all the people in your day-to-day life. And along with that, you will get a chance to work across industries. Like I said, it's not like that only technical people can enroll or non-technical people can enroll. You can go into every field, technical, non-technical, because your primary thing is to focus on the project. It's technical, non-technical, doesn't matter. You just have to focus on the project. And the second thing, like I said, you have to be the one who always think out of the box. Now let's talk about employer benefits. So you have learned right now what are the benefits that you are going to get, but what are the benefits the company is going to get if they're going to hire a person who is PMP certified? Customer satisfaction, because if your company is dealing into service based, they are going to make different projects for the customer. You are going to be the one who is going to own that entire thing. So you are going to make the things and stable with good appearance, with good experience, so your customers are going to be satisfied of the organization. And you know that right now in this today's world, the main thing which really matters in this competitive world is the customer satisfaction. If your customer is basically God, if they are satisfied, you can do everything. Next one is improved work culture. So in this case, if your company is going to hire you, you know what exactly is the project management. You will be able, if you being a project manager, you will be able to take work efficiently from all the different team. Basically, for example, your company has to develop a project wherein you will require some people to work in networking team, programming team, different teams. You have to collaborate. So with your skill set, you will be able to take most of the work from a different team members. And again, that's something you're going to learn in the course. And another one is PMP certified candidates are more reliable. The reason being because you are going to have that knowledge, you're going to own that skill set, so that's why people are more reliable. And the last one is the increased success rate of the project, because you know all the bits and pieces, what can be the loose endpoints. You are going to fill those gaps and to make a project very stable. Now let's talk about PMP exam pattern. What kind of pattern? So this pattern that we are talking about, this is the current PMP exam content, where you have a five things. First is initiating, second is planning, third is executing, fourth is controlling, and fifth is closing. So let's talk about one by one with the weightage. So in the case of initiating, it has a 13% of weightage, wherein you are going to perform a pre-checks that whatever the kind of project you are going to enroll in, is this technically possible to build that project or not? And also from business perspective, it is business feasible to build that project or not. For example, I'm going to build a project which was not technical feasible. I'm going to say that I need a software wherein I am going to pass some numbers. It's going to convert those numbers into hexadecimal numbers, which is again in certain cases technically not feasible, because for example, I'm using it on my phone, and my phone has a limit to have only 10 characters, so it's going to round off those values. It's not going to give me the good output, so it's not technical feasible. Or from business perspective, you have to see that, for example, you're going to get a project of $100,000. Then in that case, what is your revenue? Are you making enough revenue? If you're not making enough revenue, or for example, for $100,000 project, you have to spend $150,000. You're going to be in a loss in that case. So in that case, it's not a good deal for your business. So in the initiating phase, you're going to perform the weightage on that. Next one is the planning. So in the case of planning, it has 24% weightage, wherein you are going to perform proper planning on the project, that what are going to be different phases of your project. For example, in my project, I have realized, okay, I will require 5 components. Out of these 5 components, which component I should start first? Along with that, out of these 5 components, what is going to be the very first component on which I have to start designing? So you know that you have to start with, first of all, design the front end, then you're going to start with the back end. You have to prioritize all those kind of things. That's going to fall into the planning, which has 24% weightage. The next one is executing. Executing is the one where the real implementation phase is going to start. Now you have realized in the last phase that you are going to have 5 modules. The first module is going to have the precedence. So you're going to work on the first module in the beginning. So you're going to start with the execution, which has a 31% weightage. Next one is the controlling. Now, which has 7% weightage. The reason is you have to make sure that in order to make a project reliable, you have to make sure that all the different subcomponents are independent of each other. They should work in an isolated way with each other. I have 5 modules. If second module is going to fail, then in that case, how I'm going to make my first and third module work? Otherwise, my entire application is going to crash. We have to make sure that all the 5 modules, the sub modules, we have to make as reliable, so that if one module is going to fail, other modules should work. The last one is the closing, which is basically the final phase, which has again 31% of weightage, wherein you are going to make sure that end-to-end testing, like whatever the way your product was supposed to build and design, is it working as the same way or not? A kind of a thorough testing you do. And the last phase, that's closing. Now, this is again the current pattern. Now talking about the upcoming PMP exam content, which has 3 things: the people, the process, and the business environment. People are basically the one, they are the building block which is basically for any project. If I have to build anything, technical, non-technical, any industry, I need the people, and people has to understand how to work with each other. So that's the first important component. Now, which has again the 42% weightage. If I talk about the second component, which is process has 50%. Now you have people, you have to make sure that you are involving right people at the right phase. Now, out of 5 module I need, let's say in the second module I need major people, so I am allocating right people at the right phase. And the last one is basically business environment, which has the 8% weightage, wherein you are going to give them a good environment condition so that they are satisfied, like giving the leaves on time. If you're taking overwork for them, they are getting paid for the overtime, all those time kind of things. This is again the upcoming exam content. Now you're going to sum up this people, process, and business environment is going to become 100%. Now let's talk about the content outline for the upcoming exam content. So which has basically 3 things: the 3 domains, the task, and the enablers. Let me even show you with the help of an example, which is going to give you more understanding. So this is an example of people, process, and the business environment. Now let me start one by one again with the people. Basically, what exactly is the people? You got that. People are basically are the one who are going to be the building block for any of the project. Now it has 3 components that you have seen: basically domain, task, and enablers. So for the domain is basically a high level knowledge area which is required to practice project management. And coming to the task basically cover the underlying responsibilities of project managers within every domain. And enablers are the illustrative example of the job which is associated with the task. So it can be in the form of GUI, or it can be a form of some command line, which is CLI. So this is again one of the example for people. Let's say you have 14 tasks and 52 enablers, 17 tasks and 61 enablers, and 4 tasks and 19 enablers. So it can vary from project to project depending on the requirement that you have, and it can go higher. Now, coming to the next part, which is PMP exam requirements. So, in terms of education, you should have a secondary degree or a 4-year degree or a bachelor's or postgraduate degree. In terms of experience, you should have 5-year non-overlapping project management experience or 3-year non-overlapping project management experience. If you are basically holding, for example, bachelor's degree or postgraduate degree, then having 2-year experience is fine. If you already have 4-year degree, then having a 3-year experience is fine. And if you have a secondary degree, then in that case you will require 5-year experience. Now, in the case of project management education, you have to go through the 35 contact hours of formal education that you're going to already get. Once you're going to enroll in our certification, you're already going to get that and the certification from our side. And now coming to the cost part, so this is basically the cost. If you're going to go for, if you're basically a CBT member or OPT member, the cost is 405 for you. If you are not that member, the cost is higher, which is 555. And if you failed in the first attempt, you want to give the second attempt. For OPT, it's $275, and for non-member OPT, it's $375. Thanks for joining today's webinar. I hope you have learned a lot. Bye bye. Take care.